Welcome back to StoryOrbitEN. Let me begin with a question that might sound dramatic, but stay with me. Have you ever cooked something, felt incredibly proud, took the first bite, and thought, what on earth have I created? Because today we are talking about cooking, food, disasters, masterpieces, everything. And Tom already looks nervous.
I am nervous, completely, because whenever I cook, there is at least a 50% chance the smoke alarm joins the meal. And the funny thing is that I try. I genuinely try. I watch a video, I follow the steps, and somehow it all ends with me Googling how to clean burnt pans.
See, this is why we are doing this episode. Cooking is full of surprises. And English learners always ask us for vocabulary related to food and cooking. Today we are giving them all of that, but in a fun way. Also, Tom, you cannot just say burnt pans without explaining your process. What exactly happens in your kitchen?
Everything happens. I think my biggest problem is that I get distracted. For example, last week I was boiling potatoes. Simple, innocent, soft little potatoes. Then I walked away for what felt like 2 minutes. When I returned, the pot looked like it had experienced a volcanic eruption.
Boiling potatoes is normally the most peaceful cooking task. They just sit there. They do nothing. They behave. How did you manage to turn them into magma?
I still don't understand. But you see, that brings up a useful verb, to boil over. Listeners, to boil over means the water inside a pot rises and spills out. It happens when something is boiling too strongly. So when people say their pot boiled over, it means exactly that. And no, I did not plan to teach you vocabulary through suffering, but here we are.
We teach through trauma on this channel. We should make it our slogan.
Perfect. StoryOrbitEN. Learn English through emotional cooking catastrophes.
Speaking of catastrophes, do you remember the time I tried to bake sourdough bread?
How could I forget? You sent me a photo and asked, is it supposed to look like this? And the shape was, what was that shape?
I did not want to talk about the shape. I wanted my bread to look rustic. You know that word, listeners. Rustic means simple and traditional, usually in a charming way. But mine looked rustic in a prehistoric way, like something an archaeologist would put in a museum.
But your kitchen smelled amazing. That is one of the best things about baking. Even if the result is questionable, the smell is like an invisible hug.
True. And we should talk about baking vocabulary. For example, to knead, such a strange spelling. Listeners, it means working the dough with your hands. I always found it therapeutic.
Except when the dough sticks to your fingers like glue. Then it feels less therapeutic and more like wrestling an alien.
I once kneaded dough for so long, my arms felt like noodles. Another word learners might like, noodles. Fun word. It describes long, thin pieces of pasta. And no, kneading dough does not create noodles. But it should, considering the workout involved.
Speaking of pasta, I have a bone to pick with you. You keep insisting that pasta should always be cooked, al dente. And listeners, al dente means the pasta is cooked enough to be firm but not too soft. But my question is, why? Why can it not be soft and comfortable?
Because soft pasta is sad. It is tragic. It is a pasta that has given up on life.
That is dramatic. Very dramatic.
I am not exaggerating. When pasta is too soft, Italians cry. Somewhere in the world, an Italian grandmother drops her wooden spoon and gasps.
A wooden spoon is essential in cooking. I think it is one of the first kitchen utensils I ever used. That and a spatula. I love the word spatula. It sounds like the name of a superhero.
Spatula man, save the day one pancake at a time.
You mentioned pancakes. Now I am hungry. And pancakes are such a brilliant dish to practice cooking vocabulary. Mixing, whisking, flipping. To flip is fun. It means turning something over quickly, usually in the pan.
But do not throw the pancake at the ceiling. That is not part of the technique.
I did that once, not intentionally. The pancake stuck to the ceiling for 7 minutes. It eventually fell like a sad little parachute.
Wait. You flipped a pancake so hard it flew upwards and got stuck?
In my defense, I was trying to impress someone.
Did it work?
Absolutely not. The only one impressed was the ceiling. And that thing stayed silent.
Cooking to impress someone is risky. Whenever someone says, I'll cook something special for you, I immediately panic because expectations get high. but I appreciate the effort, and it is a great excuse to use the verb to chop. Listeners, to chop means to cut something into pieces, usually with a knife.
A sharp knife. Very sharp. I learned the hard way that a dull knife is more dangerous.
For learners, dull means not sharp. And you are right. A dull knife slips easily. A sharp knife cuts cleanly.
My worst cooking injury came from a dull knife, actually. I was chopping tomatoes. And here is another word, to dice. That means to cut into small cubes. Diced tomatoes, diced onions, diced peppers. But mine ended with diced finger more than diced tomato.
Tom, oh no.
Just a tiny cut. But it reminded me to respect kitchen tools.
Since we are teaching vocabulary through trauma again, let me add another. To simmer. This means cooking something just below the boiling point. Small bubbles. Very gentle. When you simmer soup or sauce, the flavor develops slowly.
You sound like a cooking show.
I know. I practiced.
And you introduced another great word, flavor. Listeners, it means taste. When you say something has a strong flavor, it means the taste is noticeable. Mild flavor means the taste is gentle.
Speaking of flavor, what is the best dish you can cook?
Omelets.
That is basic but acceptable.
No, not basic. Mine are elegant, fluffy, sophisticated.
Listeners, I have tasted Tom's omelets. They are fine, good, but sophisticated, they are eggs.
Eggs can be sophisticated. Add cheese, herbs, mushrooms. Suddenly, you have a gourmet experience.
There is another word, gourmet. It means high quality, very flavorful, sometimes expensive food. Tom's omelets are not gourmet. Tomato and salt do not make something gourmet.
You underestimate my tomato cutting skills.
I have not forgotten the diced finger story.
Fair enough. But what about you? What is your best dish?
Honestly, risotto. I love making risotto. It is the perfect combination of technique and patience. You have to stir constantly and add broth little by little.
Risotto stresses me out. That constant stirring, that slow absorption, it feels like the rice is judging me.
The rice is not judging you. You are judging the rice and losing.
I am definitely losing. And there's another word for listeners, broth. It means a liquid made by boiling meat, vegetables, or bones. It has flavor.
You use it in soups or risotto.
If a learner wants a fun verb today, I think the sauté is the one. It is French, and it means to cook something quickly in a little oil over high heat.
Like sautéed mushrooms, sautéed garlic, sautéed spinach.
Garlic is my best friend in the kitchen. If a dish tastes boring, garlic saves it.
Except when you burn it. Burnt garlic ruins everything.
True. Burnt garlic tastes like sadness.
And bitterness. And disappointment.
Speaking of burnt things, have you noticed how cooking vocabulary often depends on small differences? For example, to roast, to bake, to grill.
Roast usually means cooking something in the oven with dry heat, but often for meat or vegetables. Bake is also in the oven, but usually for bread, cakes, pastries, things like that.
And grilling means cooking over direct heat, usually from below.
Exactly. And when you put something in a frying pan with oil, that is to fry.
Deep fry is when the food is totally submerged in hot oil.
That is dangerous territory. Delicious, but dangerous.
One of the first words English learners ask about is recipe. A recipe is a set of instructions for cooking something.
And ingredients are the items you need, like eggs, flour, sugar.
And utensils are the tools, spoons, knives, pans, spatulas.
Pan is a fun word because British English uses frying pan or pan, but American English says skillet.
Skillet sounds powerful, like a warrior tool. Bring me my skillet.
You are imagining cooking battles again.
I would absolutely watch a show where chefs fight with spatulas.
You basically want a kitchen version of an action movie.
Yes, instead of explosions, there are pots boiling over.
Actually, that already sounds like your kitchen.
True. I am living the action movie.
Let us get back to the cooking theme. I want to talk about cutting styles again. Slice, chop, dice, mince.
Mince is a good one. It means cutting something extremely small, like minced garlic. It is almost tiny pieces.
And slicing is cutting something into thin pieces, like slicing A cucumber.
Listeners, think of 2-cube too. When you cut something into cube shapes, often used for cheese or melon.
And this brings me to my next point. Why do you always cut vegetables as if you are in a hurry? Every time I see you, it is chop, 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 like you are speed running the kitchen.
Because I get excited. I love the sound of chopping. It feels productive.
It sounds dangerous.
Danger is part of life.
Not in the kitchen. In the kitchen, we prefer calm, relaxed, safe energy, not whatever chaotic mood you have going on.
All right. Next time, I will cut vegetables slowly and dramatically.
Please do not. That will make it worse.
Speaking of chaos, do you remember the first time you tried to cook curry?
How dare you bring that memory back?
You used an entire jar of chili powder.
I thought tablespoons meant big spoons. In cooking, a tablespoon is a specific measurement. It is not any big spoon from your kitchen drawer. It is an actual measuring spoon that equals about 15 milliliters. And a teaspoon is smaller, about 5 milliliters. So when a recipe says 1 tablespoon of chili powder, it means the measuring spoon, not the huge spoon you use to serve food. That is how I accidentally created a volcano in a bowl.
You use serving spoons.
It smelled like the sun. It tasted like fire.
My mouth was crying.
Mine was screamy. That was the spiciest thing I have ever made. And that is another vocabulary word. Spicy. When food has a hot taste because of spices like chili.
And mild is the opposite, a gentle flavor.
And savory means salty or full of flavor, not sweet.
And sweet is sweet, easy one.
Sweet is never easy when you try to bake. Sugar is tricky. Temperature matters so much.
I once burned caramel so badly it turned into a rock. A real rock.
Caramel can betray you. You look away for 1 second and suddenly it is a solid.
I learned that the term to caramelize means to cook sugar until it becomes golden and sticky, but apparently you need patience.
Patience and no distractions.
So I should not caramelize while watching videos.
Definitely not. Cooking vocabulary also includes a lot of equipment words. Oven, stove, blender, whisk.
A whisk is that tool with metal loops that you use to beat eggs or mix batter. And batter means a liquid mixture used for pancakes, cakes, things like that.
And dough is thicker, like bread dough or pizza dough.
When you roll dough with a rolling pin, that is called to roll out.
Do not forget to spread, like spreading butter on toast.
And to drizzle. When you pour a thin stream of something like olive oil or honey. Listeners, if you ever want to impress someone, say, I drizzled olive oil on top. Sounds fancy instantly.
Meanwhile, Tom is still burning potatoes.
That was one time. One volcanic time.
Cooking also has emotional vocabulary. Comfort food. You know that phrase, listeners. Comfort food refers to dishes that make you feel happy or nostalgic, warm, cozy meals.
Mine is mac and cheese. When I say mac and cheese, I mean that creamy pasta dish made with macaroni and melted cheese. It is simple, warm, and heavy in a good way. And mac and cheese is short for macaroni and cheese. It is one of those dishes you eat when you want something cozy, something that gives you that relaxing feeling after a long day.
And mine is chicken soup, the classic soup made with chicken, vegetables, and broth. It is the dish people often eat when they feel tired or a bit sick because it is warm and comforting.
Chicken soup is a classic. And speaking of soup, what is your favorite spice?
Paprika maybe, or cumin, or garlic powder.
Paprika is a red spice made from dried peppers. It gives food a warm color and a mild taste. Cumin has a stronger, earthy flavor, the kind you find in curries or chili. And garlic powder is simply dried garlic that has been ground into a powder so you can sprinkle it easily without chopping anything.
You know a word I like? Season.
As a verb, it means to add salt, pepper, or spices.
And seasoning is the mix of spices itself.
There's also marinate, when you soak meat or vegetables in a flavored liquid to add taste.
I love marinating chicken overnight.
Overnight, that is commitment.
Cooking requires commitment.
And cooking requires hunger. I remember once trying to marinate tofu. I left it in the fridge with soy sauce, ginger, and garlic, but I forgot it for 4 days.
4 days?
When I opened the container, I almost passed out.
Wow, Tom.
Look, cooking is trial and error.
Listeners, trial and error means learning by trying things and making mistakes. In cooking, it is very common.
Speaking of errors, I want to ask you something. Why is baking so strict? When I cook, I improvise. When I bake, if I improvise, everything collapses.
Because baking is science, you need exact measurements. If the recipe says 1 cup of flour, you cannot add 2, or half.
But in cooking, I can add more garlic freely.
Yes, cooking is more flexible,
That is why I prefer cooking over baking.
but baking gives you cake.
True. Cake wins.
Do you ever use herbs? Basil, rosemary, thyme, parsley,
I love basil. It makes everything smell fresh.
and parsley, poor parsley, always used as decoration.
It deserves respect. Oh, there is a slang phrase connected to cooking, to whip something up. It means to cook something quickly. Like, I will whip up some pasta.
Great one. Another is to pig out. It means to eat too much,
Which I do after cooking.
which you should not do after cooking curry with an entire jar of chili powder.
My stomach remembers.
Mine too.
Listeners, what is your comfort food? Think about it. Maybe even say it out loud. It is good practice.
And what is your cooking weakness? The thing you always struggle with?
Mine is timing. I always miscalculate.
Mine is multitasking. I cannot cook 3 things at once.
Before we wrap up, let us revisit some vocabulary. We talked about boil over, knead, al dente, flip, chop, dice, mince, simmer, broth, sauté, rustic, gourmet, season, seasoning, marinate, batter, dough, drizzle, comfort food, trial and error, and so many more.
And listeners, we want you to practice. In the comments, write a sentence using one of today's words. Something simple like, I like to saute onions, or my pasta is always al dente.
Or, I once flipped a pancake and it got stuck on the ceiling. If that has happened to you, you have my sympathy.
Thank you for joining us today on StoryOrbitEN. We hope you learned something, laughed a little, and feel inspired to cook something delicious. Bye, everyone.
See you next time. And remember to keep practicing, keep laughing, and keep cooking. Bye.